Hey, Joran.
Hi.
We're here on the Joranalogue booth.
Yeah,
And you've got a new oscillator, right?
I do. Well, it's a bit of an oscillator, but I call it a bit more. It's a multiphonic signal generator, because it doesn't just allow you to modulate frequency, but also the phase and the harmonics and the amplitude of any signal. So maybe we can have a bit of a listen. The basis of it is a triangle core VCO, which has perfect pitch tracking, basically very wide range. It has true zero frequency modulation.
So what kind of pitch, what kind of tracking octaves are we talking about? How many octaves?
10, basically the entire audio range, pitch perfect, as you'd expect from a good high-end VCO. So it has true zero frequency modulation, and you can have a bit of a listen to that. So I'm just using these are two identical prototypes, and I'm using the left one to modulate the right one. And we get those nice true zero sweeps everyone loves. Now, of course, true zero frequency modulation is not really a new thing. But here you also have true zero phase modulation and true zero amplitude modulation, which is basically ring modulation of 3 temporal channels.
And they're all, you can do all of those modulations simultaneously?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the temporal part of it. There's 3 temporal channels: the fundamental, the even, and the odd harmonics. And this is inspired by how the human hearing works. You'll find that all the even harmonics contribute to a certain type of character or timbre of the sound, and all the odd harmonics do. So here they're separated out: fundamental, even, and odd. And if you can have a listen to it, the fundamental is a sine wave, as you'd expect. The even harmonics look like a saw wave at twice the frequency, and the odd harmonics have an interesting look to them as well. And it's by combining these 3 temporal channels that you can create a great number of timbres and sort of dial in the wave shape and the sound you want. And this we can do with the full output, which is the mix of the 3 temporal channels. Now I can use the level knobs for each of the 3 channels to dial in different sounds. Increase the even harmonics, decrease the even harmonics. And you get various wave shapes, including just classic sine, square, and saw, but also going way beyond. Let's have a little listen to the even output straight away. Now there's also phase modulation, and phase is an interesting parameter of sound, because you don't really hear phase, it's a relative thing, but you can hear it while it's changing. So I can change the phase manually, and you don't hear a difference in sound. But while I'm changing it, you can hear a sort of pitch change. So if I now use a modulation source for the phase, and I turn up the phase modulation, so you get FM type of sounds, but the oscillator frequency doesn't change. So the triangle core is still at the exact same frequency. And you still get these deep FM type sounds. This is actually how digital FM synthesizers typically work, by phase modulation. And you have it available true zero phase modulation and true zero frequency modulation available at the same time. Now this was just on the even harmonics. We can also use the full output again and get phase modulation of the entire harmonic structure. So lots of different tones to be acquired. Right. And as I mentioned, you have the true zero amplitude modulation, which is basically ring modulation for quadrant modulation, balance modulation, whatever you want to call it, of the three temporal channels separately. So we can maybe try the fundamental output again. So that's a sine wave. And I plug in a modulation source here.
So that's the amplitude modulation.
Yeah,
essentially, yeah.
but it's true zero as
Yeah,
well, so it's ring modulation.
Yeah, bipolar. Yeah.
Yeah. So it has all these different names for quadrant, balance modulation, whatever. And of course you can do it separately for fundamental, even and odds. So if I go back to the full output and I turn up some harmonics, now we have modulation of only the fundamental, but the even and odd harmonics all stay fixed. Maybe just the even harmonics. So again, another great way to audio frequency modulate, but also using LFOs or envelopes. You can do some interesting tricks, sweeping between even and odd harmonics, or envelopes, do some pseudo filtering type of thing by having the harmonics decay before the fundamental. So lots of tricks to be.
Yeah, really kind of wide-ranging oscillator. So,
absolutely.
When is it kind of ready to go, or are you?
These prototypes, I just managed to get them ready for Superbooth, so it's super early, and we're looking at about late summer, September, something like that.
And I'm guessing you don't have a price, or you kind of got a price range?
It's going to be a bit more than Filter 8, because it's the same size, it's 12 HP, but it's a bit more complex. So about €350, dollar, I think that's about £300, that kind of range.
Excellent, Joran. Thank you very much.
Thank you.